Yo, what is up, gang? Today we're going to talk about a topic that I get asked a lot of times, which is what is it like dating as a Black person in Thailand? So as you would expect, it's a very dynamic topic. My experience is obviously going to be very different than most people's experience, but I wanted to relate it to you so you can really understand what it's like to really talk to people out here and to try to get in relationships. But before we go ahead and get into it, as always, if you're interested in learning how to get long-term remote work, you can find a link in the description where I offer one-on-one coding mentorships for me and you personally go through on how to code from scratch. So if you have zero knowledge about coding or even computers in general, we will go through every step one by one, and you will learn how to be a professional engineer in only months. Or if you're interested in learning information about Thailand, you can also book a one-on-one meeting with me in the comments as well, where we'll talk about everything you need to know about visas, finding accommodations, also places to move and things to see and do when you get here as well. Being the case, let's go ahead and get into it. So from my experience dating in Thailand, it has been good and bad. I would definitely say in general, it has been good and even much better than in America. But there's definitely some things I have experienced that have been not so good. So first what we'll talk about is the good things, and the things I actually like about dating in Thailand. So one thing I really have found in Thailand that is really good is that girls are definitely much more feminine here. And what I mean by that is that women in general tend to take care of you a lot more. They'll do things that you kind of would not have expected them to do. They'll do things that in the United States would be kind of like more marital things, such as they'll clean their room, they'll cook for you, they'll give you a lot of advice and helpful information on, what to do and what to find. They'll do stuff on your behalf when you need them to do it, even without you asking. So stuff like that is stuff you'll definitely experience a lot. And that's something I really, really do like about not only Thai women in general, but Southeast Asian women in general, is that they are very accommodating to you, not only not knowing, but also just you as a person. They want to make you feel happy and good. Another thing is that they're really friendly. I think one of the major things I like about Thai women and also Southeast Asian women in general is that they're just very friendly people, easy to talk to. You can ask them very, kind of dumb questions about just their culture, and they'll answer it, and it won't be kind of like a weird sort of stigma thing or something like that. A lot of times I'll definitely ask, for instance, my current girlfriend, a lot of times I'll ask girls questions and they'll answer even if they don't even know the answer. Just as a foreigner, there's a lot of things you don't know, and so asking questions really helps you understand and learn stuff. And so obviously, if you have a girlfriend or someone you're dating, they're kind of the best person to ask. Also, they're willing to show you around. There's definitely tons of places girls have taken me to and things they've shown me that I would have definitely not found on Google or something like that. And that's one of the major things about Thailand in general, is a lot of stuff that actual Thai people do is not stuff that you can generally Google on TripAdvisor or something like that. It's going to be stuff that you need to just talk to someone and just find out and know about. So going to, for example, a lot of the islands, there's so many islands here outside of the common tourism islands like James Bond Island or something like that, that you can go to, that Thai people go to, that foreigners would not know about. One major one is there's two sister islands named, I can't remember the name too much offhand, but one is called Lake and one is called Yai, which means big island and small island, and the two islands are right next to each other. So you can take a boat there. It's very, very nice. The island is super cool, and there's actually one person or two people that live on the island because it's so small. So it's really, really nice. And Thai people are doing stuff like that all the time. And as a foreigner, I would definitely not have found or researched those islands had I not been taken there by someone. Now let's get into the cons about dating as a Black person in Thailand. So two major ones that I really, really don't like about Thailand, or what I really don't like about Southeast Asian women in general, is that you're definitely stigmatized as a Black person. And I don't mean that in a good way at all. I'm not going to get super graphic in detail, but basically, as a Black male, they're like, you're Black, you're male, you got this, so it must be this. You know what I mean? You can put the pieces together, which, isn't a bad stigma. I don't fucking mind it. But it definitely, as a Black person, makes it feel like when girls talk to you, it's only for a reason, which I don't really like at all. Especially when you're trying to get in serious relationships. That is a common issue that you face. It's does she like me because I'm Black and she has some weird Black fetish thing? Or does she like me because she just likes me as a person? Every person's going to be different. There's no, this or that, but it's something you're definitely going to experience. Another stigma that Southeast Asian women really have about Black people in general is the fact that we're generally going to be scammers. So I don't care if you live in Bangkok, if you live in Phuket, if you live in Chiang Mai, if you live in one of the provinces, if you live in Isan, there is going to be a stigma that you are some sort of scammer. They're gonna think you're Nigerian or coming from someplace in Africa, and they're gonna think you're here to do illegal business, even when you're not. And even when that's still something that you present to them and tell them, there's generally gonna be this kind of apprehension towards you, just due to the fact that generally most of the experience of black people is in troves is that black people come over here and do scam. That is something that legitimately does happen. And I've heard tons of horror stories from Thai girls about, oh, my friend talked to some guy from Nigeria and he said, I'll pay you 10,000 baht if you take this drug from here to here on the plane, and then she got caught and then he left her for dead, you know? So it's not something that definitely doesn't happen. It does. And it's kind of really crappy that it does happen like that, but you're gonna kind of face a lot of backlash from that stigma. And actually a recent one that I heard from even one of my Thai friends who lives in Bangkok, that she was saying that there's essentially a group of African men that were in the apartment and were scamming Thai women to send them money. And then the police had to get involved and eventually were arrested. But once again, it's another thing that as a black person, you will always kind of be given this scammer sort of opinion. So that's something, unfortunately, that's very unavoidable. Now, outside of kind of the black context, just speaking in general as a foreigner, something you will also experience as well is the fact that generally girls will try to use you for your money. So this one is rather obvious, you know? But sometimes it comes off a little subtle, you know what I mean? You know, for example, I was dating this one girl and she had like to get her teeth fixed. And so I was like, oh yeah, you know, like I'll go with you to get your teeth fixed, you know what I mean? And she was like, oh, can you pay for the hotel? Keep on, the hotel's like 15 bucks. I don't care. But still, she was like, make you pay for the hotel. Ended up being a bad person and I ditched it. But stuff like that, where like, it's like, oh, can you help me do this? You know what I mean? So generally, I would say that real like good Thai girls will not really ever ask you for money. And if they do, it's in things that are like reasonable. So I remember I was dating this one girl for a while where she would come from one of the islands to Phuket to like visit me, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, she'd be like, well, I paid for the boat, so can you just pay for the boat back? And I'd be like, of course, like that makes sense. You know what I mean? So stuff like that is reasonable. It's not an issue at all. It's more when it's just like, pay for this random thing for me because you can, because you're foreign and you have money, that sort of stuff. Other thing is, and I've experienced this a lot, I feel like this video is kind of negative. It's not meant to be that negative. As that you'll definitely see Thai girls that have like, I don't know how to say it, like a lot of arrogance, which is something you wouldn't expect. I guess as a foreigner coming to Thailand, is like, oh, I'm going to meet these people. In my head, I'm kind of like, oh, Thai people are very like reserved, at least a little bit more reserved than Americans, which is definitely still true. Well, I remember I was going to take this one girl on a date and she lives very far from me. So I was like, hey, you know, definitely still want to do the date, but can we just meet somewhere in the middle for the date? And she was like, no, unless you come to where I'm at, I'm not moving anywhere, not even 10 minutes away. And I'm like, okay, bro. Okay, whatever. So I'll definitely say it's not the most common thing, but it definitely does happen decently frequently. Another big one is cultural difference. This is something that I definitely expected to happen, but definitely something that it comes in where you wouldn't really necessarily expect. So for example, in America, everyone works 9 to 5, you know? You start at 9 a.m., we get off at 5 a.m. It doesn't really work that way in Thailand. Pretty much every girl I know, no matter what it is, works from like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You get it. It's basically like a 12-hour shift every day. And so that's when you hang out, it's going to either usually be at night or usually be on the weekends. And the issue with that is that those working hours a lot of times conflicts or intertwines with freelance workers. Freelance workers and people that do, you know, boom, boom, always work at night. So generally speaking, they'll be hitting you up at night, and also the good girls will also be hitting you up at night. So you kind of have this thing where you're like, okay, is Shorty, is my fine shit, is she freelance or does she just work a normal job? So a lot of times you have to kind of ask more questions about what they do than I've ever had to do in America. I don't think in America I ever knew what any of my girlfriends ever did. In Thailand, I knew what every single one of them do. Because if you don't ask, you can definitely get caught up talking to some chick who just wants you for your money or whatever, you know, nefarious intentions they have. Like, it's really good to go around and be asking these questions like, what do you do for work? When do you work? What holidays do you have? You know, if Shorty says like, yo, I work from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. freelance, she's a dub. If she's like, yo, I work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., that's normal. It's nothing abnormal. So many things you experience as a black person in Thailand. Some good, definitely some bad. I would say in general, my experience overall so far is like fairly good, especially in comparison to the United States. In general, I do prefer Thai girls because they're just kind of easier to deal with overarchingly. Even if there's some bad portions, overarchingly, they're just nice people and nice culture and peaceful in comparison to a lot of times when I feel like there's the United States, you know, or even Africa, for example. You know, every girl in Africa is like money, 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 you know what I mean? And I get it. but it's just something that in Thailand is not so much a part of the culture. But anyways, that ends it for the video today, guys. Like I said, if you guys want to have long-term work, you can hit me up in the description. You'll find a link for a one-on-one coding mentorship where I'll teach you how to code from scratch. I know a whole bunch of languages such as Java, JavaScript, C++, C, Go, Objective-C, list goes on. I've been coding for about 15 years. I've worked for companies such as Amazon and Google, as well as Northrop Grumman and L3 Harris, and all the varying levels of engineering. So I have tons of experience in code, and I can tell you exactly what you need. And I can take you from being a coding nobody to a coding genius in only a couple months. So definitely, if you're looking to have long-term work and just long-term work in general, hit the link in the description and book a one-on-one mentor session with me. Also, while you're at it, if you want to find information out about Thailand, you can find my link in the description, which will take you to book a one-on-one meeting with me as well. Or if you just want to buy me a coffee, you can find a link in the description as well. And if you're looking for more videos on what it's like being black in Thailand, you can find one here. But also as well, if you're looking for what it really costs to live in Thailand, you can find a video like that here. But in either case, I'll see you guys in the next time. Wow.